mindset, which is the first stage of our transformation process, and then talking about transforming the brand a little bit. And our master classes will be following up with the what, is looking at our business model, and the master class, another one, will be on transforming strategies and impact. Next slide, please. So I wanted to begin with a story from Jesta Nasruddin, or I think in your part of the world called Yoha. This is a story about a man who was walking at sunset, and he was walking home, and all of a sudden he was in the street, and he saw a person frantically searching on the ground for something. And so he stopped. He was a very kind man. He says, "What are you searching for, old man?" And he said, "I lost my key," responded Nasruddin. And the man then decided to help him. He got on his knees and he frantically started searching for 5 and 10 and 15 minutes. And they were very anxiously searching for this key. And all of a sudden, the man decided, and he said, "Well, you know, we're not finding this key." He asked Nasruddin, he says, "Where was the key? Where did you lose it? Where exactly did you lose it?" He said, "I think I lost it in the house." And he said with a smile. And the man said, really shocked, he says, "Why are we searching here for the key?" And Nasruddin smiled and he said, "Because there's light here." What does that story tell us about searching for solutions in this current chaotic world, which has been devastated by 9 million confirmed cases of COVID, with over almost 500,000 people who have died? In fact, myself, I'm very grateful to be here, a survivor of COVID after being sick for over a month and losing lots of weight and having trouble breathing. But when we begin our search, like the jester did, where do we begin it? We hope that this story will maybe open some doors. The key in this story, it's a mystical teaching story, so we'll just deal with one symbolic level. The key is the source of power in one context. And we usually search for the solutions to find that key. In this case, the business solutions. We try to find that key outside ourselves. We look to maybe hiring a consultant, or changing our marketing strategy, or revising some of our HR or our operations practices, but very infrequently. And it's few leaders which really search inside and do some self-reflection. Next slide, please. So what does this story tell us about what we're looking for? Do we have the right intention about what we're looking for in our environment? Are we really clear what the problem is with re-entering into a COVID world or through digital disruption? Or do we self-reflect on our assumptions and the way we predetermine the path to our solution? Do we really think about the biases, the confirmation biases that we might have when we enter a situation and a new solution? Where are we looking for that key or that solution? Are we looking in the marketplace? Are we looking within our organization? And who's looking for the answers? Is that our leadership team? Are we thinking about the stakeholders who are involved in it? Or are we thinking just about the old way of hierarchical making a decision and not even consulting with our employees, our partners, or even the community leaders? And are we looking in the right places for the answer? Next slide, please. So the whole thesis behind what we're talking about here, and in my decades worth of work in digital transformation, is often people look in the wrong places. Executives look in the wrong places to find and solve their problems. They turn outside to experts, new technologies, changing marketing strategies. They very infrequently look inside themselves to self-reflect on their organizations, on their biases. They infrequently choose to look at their values and their purpose and what they're communicating to all of their stakeholders. And they do not take the time to develop a new kind of mindset, which is necessary in this generation to look at the kinds of chaos and disruptions that we're facing on a daily level. Next slide, please. So our intention is to shift, is to wake us all up to the signs that we're all seeing every day in the marketplace, to understand the role of the stakeholder, the customer, the employee, the partner, the community, and the investor. All have to be optimized in terms of what their needs are, what their expectations are, and how we can fulfill that. And how understanding these signs and understanding the perspective of the stakeholder will propel new directions for our company, and most of all will fuel a much more quadruple bottom line approach to impact, which is dealing with the people, the planet, the prosperity of the community, and the profit which is necessary to sustain our organization in a just way. Next slide, please. So what is your approach? What is you as an executive's approach to disruption or crisis and change? Next slide, please. Most of us look through a lens which we've been taught in business schools and through our work as an entrepreneur, as an owner, as a nonprofit head. They look through the idea of self-interest. What helps us? What helps me? What helps my organization? And most of it is in terms of profit. Next slide, please. So what's the result of trying to look at transformation through that lens? Excuse me. Well, the history is pretty incredible. In the digital transformation space, for the last 3 or 4 years, digital transformation was one of the highest strategic priorities among 90% of the executives globally. But when you really dig down granularly to understand what those executives and those organizations can deliver, less than 50% of them felt that they had the technical skills and the mindset and the team to deliver it. In fact, some 70% of those efforts did not deliver the results that they expected. In the United States alone, last year there were $1.3 trillion worth of digital transformation and business transformation efforts, and $900 billion was wasted. Now, that's a lot of money. Why? Next slide, please. So we're going to take a little alternative perspective, and this is our journey. Our journey is to focus the lens on purpose, people, and what helps us. Us is the planet and our community. Next slide, please. Oh, so that's fine. So what is the results of this approach, which you might call, in one sense, creating shared value? You might say it's corporate social responsibility. It might say it's impact investing. Well, the results are pretty astronomical. In a conscious capital survey, which promotes among its members this social responsible and quadruple bottom line perspective, had over 1,000% ROI over 10 years. One of the best living examples is the work of Paul Pullman, the former CEO over at Unilever, where his sustainable living brands like Knorr and Dove and Lipton have grown 50% faster than his other brands. And they delivered 60% of the corporate growth. And the stories are on and on and on through those companies globally who have promoted a quadruple bottom line. Now the world is waking up, and this new perspective is being considered and adopted by the business world. Next slide, please. So I want to begin our exercise today, at our work today, with an exercise. And what I would like to do is ask you to spend about 5 or 7 minutes telling us through an elevator pitch how you differentiate and how you present your company. Next slide, please. So we're going to be asking you to develop an elevator pitch. And Adel will post this on the screen. So there'll be 4 aspects of developing an elevator pitch. The story is that you're in an elevator which has about 10 floors, 10 to 15 floors, and you get on the first floor and you see somebody in the elevator that you'd like to meet. You're at a conference and they have a little badge on. And you have to present in 30 seconds what your brand is about, what your company is about, to attract some kind of a call to action, some kind of engagement. So there's usually 4 aspects. You're probably all familiar with this, but I wanted to use it as a lead-in opportunity to see how we think. One is some kind of a lead-in to spark interest. The second is some way to describe the uniqueness or how you differentiate yourself. The third is how you'd engage and access their interest. And the fourth is a call to action. Next slide, please. So we're going to evaluate these slides, these pitches based upon 5 criteria. The first criteria is, does it engage the person in the first 10 seconds? We all know that engagement is absolutely critical if we're going to be speaking to people and trying to develop a relationship with them. The second thing is, does it relieve any of the pain points that this person who you want to meet will have, or some interest area that excites them to be able to continue the conversation. And that leads into the third point. Do you provide value? This is the biggest word in the business and the nonprofit community. How do you add value to the person you're targeting? And in terms of this very quick 30-second impression, how do you create trust and confidence? Trust clearly is very important. Confidence that you can deliver your message. And the fifth element is, does it provide a hook for you to remember your company? Something that you could recall. So I'm going to ask you all, Adel, to share that elevator pitch handout, and for you to just write down or type in on a chat your 30-second elevator pitch. And I'm going to ask a couple of you to share it, and then we're going to jointly share our reflections if it really accomplished the goal. Okay? So Adel, can you propose?
Yeah, you can just write, take some time, 5 minutes, to develop your elevator pitch, and then you can write it in the chat directly, or you can also
no, they could just present it. They could just present it. I think it's easier than that.
This invoice, the best way is to present invoice, but to offer everybody the chance to send the elevator pitch, they can also write it. But we need 2. Okay. We need 2 from you who can present their elevator pitch.
Right. Thank you. So we'll give you about 5 to 7 minutes.
Okay. Are you okay? Can just raise your hand if you're okay with this approach. Who is ready to develop his own elevator pitch? Or you can answer through the chat if you're okay with this and the exercise is clear for you.
Adel, can you share the entire screen so I could see all the pictures of the people, of all the attendees? Thank you.
Okay. Share the test. But no pictures are here. Only you can see the names.
Okay, fine. Forget it. It's not important. Okay.
So 5 minutes to write the elevator pitch. Then you can continue.